So I noticed this sign go up the other day telling us that they're gonna be doing some construction here on the road, which is awesome because it's about time. Actually, this road gets super busy and it's probably one that's going to result in some kind of injuries at some point. And I thought the other day, you know, I have the perfect solution for this. But it turns out that's not what they're going to do. They're not going to use my solution. And interestingly, I got really quite upset, which is funny because I have no control over what really happens here. I don't really even understand all of the things that go on, but because they weren't going to do it my way, I started to get pretty upset. And I think that happens for us more regularly in all kinds of different ways. We get upset about things we can't necessarily control, and it causes us to obsess or to think about those kinds of things, and then maybe to miss the things we actually can control. And that got me thinking about all of the things that we can't control in our lives. There's things that grow in our backyards that we don't want to have grow in our backyards, and it takes some work to get them out. And those are things that we have influence over, but don't necessarily have control. Now, there's other things that might be in your life that you don't have control over. It might be a relationship, or it might be a situation at work, or maybe some uncertainty about the future, or all kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of things that we wrestle with that we really have no control over. And it makes it difficult to try to figure out what our role might be in that and how we might make a difference, or even whether we can make a difference. And there are times when we can feel trapped and almost like sucked under or overwhelmed because we just can't figure out how to deal with what it is that we're dealing with. And I recently ran across this quote by John Lawrence, which can help us maybe. See, we can't control when trains go by either, can we? So here's the thing. We know we can't control everything, but we can control some things. And I think if we can focus on the things that we can control, we can release those things that we can't control ourselves to God's hands, and that would provide us with a little bit more peace about what's actually happening. John Lawrence, an author, puts it this way. He says, "We cannot control the length of our life, but we can control its width and depth. We cannot control the contour of our countenance, what we look like, but we can control its expression. We cannot control the other person's annoying habits, but we can do something about our own. We cannot control the distance our head is above the ground, but we can control the height of the contents we feed into it." It's important to think about and to focus on the things that are really basic and important in our world. And then allow some of the things that we don't have control over to just happen the way that they're going to happen, to let God have His way. And then we can learn how to focus on the things that we need to focus on. Philippians 4 verse 6-7 says this, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." Life will always have its frustrations, its difficulties where we won't be able to control the things that happen to us and which might actually cause us real pain and heartache. And we can't control those things, but we can control how we respond to them. So I'd urge you to figure out the ways in which you can control how you're responding to whatever it is that is happening in your life. And figure out the influence that you might be able to have over what is going on, and focus on those things, what God might be asking you to do in those situations. And then with prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, offer up the other situations to God and let Him do what He will do with them.